welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And fresh off of a week-long bootcamp, we have to talk about KAYN again because, you know, before the bootcamp we did Varus, and then everyone was like, well, what about blue KAYN? And a lot of people were asking in the bootcamp, what about purple KAYN, where we would go blue form, but build the rusty items and conquerors. So I bring forth to you a challenger Korean game where a KAYN shall be purple, and hopefully do some good things. Now, we speak a lot in general about these level 1s and these, you know, kind of cheese invades. So these late invades when your team is ready to go is very, very nice, but what's the downside to it? Well, they counter invade you, yeah? So, Akali, watching entrances, has no idea what's coming towards her. KAYN has a nice little queue of the wall, and we can begin to stack. Remember, an orb gained means it was worth gaining, almost no matter what. This is like the way you gotta think. So, if you are interested in this player's match profile and history, that as always will be linked in the match history below. Now, we have here the Gwen, moving to protect the red side. Most of the time your Gwens and tops will be here. So if you want to do a vertical jungling, understand that there is a downside to this. However, usually if you do have numbers advantage, you can simply rotate to a scenario and say, hello, and look at this, watch this, ready? Alright, Hecarim is just thinking, you know what, I'm going to counter invade you, but unfortunately that's doomed. Graves is now being collapsed upon, here we go. He flashes out, KAYN flashes, again, is it worth to flash for orbs? How psychotic are you as a KAYN maid? Typically, this is pretty good though, because this is like super, super close to actually getting a kill, but the Graves does the good job of actually, you know, using his health potions. Way too many times you guys try this nonsense and you don't chug your health potions. So, and we'll just swap the vision here. You can see both junglers significantly delayed on their first clears. Runes would have been in your screen, but I think you would have understood that that is the runes that we want to go. Yes, we will still go the Man and Moon variation. Yes, we do kind of want to spam our abilities, get the bonus damage, and yes, we do want Gore Drinker. Now, you might think, right, do we really want to be Gore Drinker against, you know, Graves who's ranged, Philius who's ranged, Yuumi, the item? Yes, because of Kali being melee, Hecarim being melee, and Graves is ranged, you know? So typically the Gore Drinker will give you a significant amount of usefulness in this particular game, especially when fighting things like Akali, and even when fighting things like Aphelios, because 200 years. So we're going to do Raptors solo, sequencing up. If this is gankable, you can do so. It's a pretty much, I think, logical reasoning that the Hecarim would have sequenced down here because he also would have had to go leashless. So both junglers do have the option of enacting a gank from a single quadrant clear. And even if you're Hecarim and you typically want a full clear, do look for these things. So Graves moves down. We'll assume he warded it, okay? And now he thinks he's safe. We can use our nice angle of approach to try, but again, I'm not a huge fan. I don't think it's too much of a problem because you know the Hecarim's going leashless and down. But what this does do is open up sort of this kind of pathing for the Hecarim. Here we go, first blood to our bottom lane, we'll take that, we get a crab, smitey, and we can drive by the mid lane, Akali. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do I want to gank an Akali? -5, I would think. And again, you open up the realms of invade potential, although I don't think that's necessarily going to happen because obviously when Hecarim's bot lane dies or gets a little far behind, this is Enchanter Crime. Hello, good wards, and we know exactly what he's done. At this point, you see 24 CS, 2 buffs, definitely taking a crab. He's going to go and get 28 on them Krugs. However, look at the pings coming through. You see what it does do though? Cha-ching, wards, tracking, availability, all in our pocket. I don't know. I know that Graves has no flash, but it's still at the end of the day a Graves. Gwen still doesn't have that CC component. You don't really have much CC. Is it worth investing in that particular situation? Pros and cons, okay? You'd have to decide for yourselves whether you kind of want to reset on Krugs and just start moving down again, or if you want to buy time going mid, looking for crabs and so on. You could always ignore, okay, this is pushing here. You could always ignore that top crab, for example, and just contest bottom crab and then float up to the top crab later. But if you do have a bot lane here pushing, remember, the W hit is absolutely crucial. That's a free flash. You hit the W, 90% slow, boom, flash, good. Invest into your future as a jungler. Invest into your ultimate usage, which you can only do if they have no flashes. Now, we have done our full juicy clear, 28 CS. Hecarim has also done 28 CS. What does Hecarim want? 100% he wants those Ionian Boots of Lucidity. Huge on the champion. He's gone phase rush as well to make sure he can kite this particular team combo, I think. Phase rush is always good against Aziri. Kind of needed. And of course against Karmas, against Kayns, and so on. We have and we will have always discussions about rune itemization. The video on my main channel talks a little bit about Hecarim, talks a little bit in general about when you have options, how you need to think about it. So check out the main channel if you want a bit more an elaboration into that kind of tech. In the meantime, KAYN knows that his, I was going to say Graptors, or Craptors. The Raptors and the Krugs are going to tier 2 topside. We know that the Hecarim's going to tier 2 topside. So Hecarim can either decide to set up a prime counter gank for this, okay? Or he can just straight up sequence down. And when your Karma decides to roam like this, basically just leaving the Zeri by herself, KAYN gets visual confirm on the fact that this Grump is down, so we know 100%. I think I would hit this just to check, but there's no real need if you know it's down. And now we can basically presuppose 100% that the Hecarim is going to look for some kind of dive action. Here we go. I mean, we already saw him, obviously. I'm a bit lagged on the voice. And now we have Karma going mid lane. Wait a second, hold up. Hold on. Let's reverse everything. So Zeri's trying to protect herself as best she can, okay? Here comes the Hecarim. We're watching too many things at once, okay? So Hecarim comes for the dive. This is pretty much, very much guaranteed. So that we see, okay, obviously. And she does get one back there, which is nice. Karma goes mid lane when Akali is 6, and Akali says, lol, and she dies. So, volatile. Showmaker goes in. It's not really Showmaker, I don't think, at least. The Kassadin goes in trying to chunk, but of course we see the bottom lane rotating up. In the meantime, our protagonist, KAYN, is just doing his business. We do see the Yuumi on a Hecarim, which is slightly disconcerting, I'm not gonna lie. You see this team combo and you're like, you know, this is kind of rough, but we do have Gwen, KAYN, who can go purple. We have literally the purple mid laner. You have here the Zeri and a Karma. I mean, Karma mains are probably half asleep anyway, because you have to play Karma. Draft-wise, this is a competitive game. Basically, it'll come down to pilot issues, you know? Look, if you can, for these ganks. Look for these dives if you can, but this dive was a possibility because Karma came with us top lane, you know? So you 3v1 on one side, you're going to get a 3v1 on the other side, typically, if you have stopped the sequence. By that I mean, KAYN was sequencing sort of down overall, and Hecarim was sequencing down. So if we stop our sequence and we don't match him, then he will have tempo on, you know, diving bot lane and so on. So what Hecarim does is goes back into his Krugs, which had a distorted timer. We do hit a double man W, Q zone, stunned into Ignite, gets a free kill. Aphelios is trying his best. We use our E for a heal, and we do it. We get level 6 here. We are able to flash. We are able to ult, and the cat dies. Triple kill for the KAYN. Well played by everyone, basically. And the fact that your Zeri is alive is kind of good. A little bit unfortunate. It's nice if everyone dies there because you kind of get solo push, maybe a plate. But overall, this is good that no one else gets fed. Again, the little shifty here to go in and out. And let's have a look here at the runes to see where we're at. Okay, Einspike Whip. You would have noticed we went pickaxe in that first back. Huge damage. Plus 25 damage. At least nice for your clears, for your PvP. Always good. Let's have a look here. Let's see where we're at with our Conqueror. Total healing, 66. It doesn't look like much, but small ticks in healing, small ticks in damage, small experience gains, +9, +10. This adds up. And those really close fights, even if you heal like 20, 30 HP, even less, chugging potions and making sure you're getting that healing can literally win these fights right here, because of course you have your E as well. Huge stuff, but all worth it for the orbs. Now, top side, Raptors, red. We could look to go straight to the Krugs, but we do have here a Hecarim and Yuumi. I'm talking so much about the KAYN and generalities that I'm losing track of the enemy jungler. It's not something I would do in-game, but hopefully, with the map and with the CS tracking, you guys can do that yourself at this point. These videos are to teach you how to fish, not to give you fish. So make sure, even if I'm talking about something general, focus on the map and always look to track yourself. I mean, you can always make the most out of these kinds of videos by listening and also paying attention to your own things. So here we have come on a rotating mid again. We have the Yuumi on the Hecarim, 1v1 bot lane. They're using this top prior here for this Herald. You know, I'm not a huge fan of this overall. If you can't fight it, if you're at a deficit, if you're not exactly having the best game in terms of lanes and perhaps the support, don't waste your time trying to steal that. The KAYN could have very easily just sequenced his red side, gone into the bot side, looked for some counter jungling potentially, or just simply controlled his own experience, use that for something in the bottom lane into a dragon. You can take stuff, right? You don't have to force the Herald fight. This is an NALCS 2 seasons ago. You don't just see a Herald and go, must have it. Try and focus your own experience gains, because essentially if you give up the Herald but are able to farm 5-6 camps for that duration, if your team wants to int it, they int it, that's more than enough experience to give you an item lead and an experience lead that you will win the next fight very, very easily. So, one step back, 2 steps forward, as it were. Good job, bot lane. Aphelios die. The Yuumi, I feel for the Aphelios, because you're an Aphelios with a Yuumi, and the Yuumi's just on someone else. We do hit, did we hit that? We did hit that, indeed. Casadino! And a Hecarim shows up. Okay, this is turning out to be a bit of a mess. Akali, as I said, is very, very annoying. Cannot be slowed. Gwen is immune. Oh, we get all of it today. Cannot be slowed. Gwen is immune. Karma rotates up, which is very, very good. Ziri has gone back into base. And now we most likely have a Yuumi, Akali, Hecarim. Iron Spike Whip. Take it. Take it. Take. Okay. All right. So a little bit of a delay in terms of our full activation to be purple. But let's see how we go. Raptors have spawned again, which means we can easily secure those. At this point, by the Karma backing, by the Gwen backing, there's not much else you can do. So if you don't have enough items, sorry, enough gold for any sort of itemization spike, you can hang around. I don't like that he's taking the blue here. We do have the crystal, the Tear of the Goddess. Does anyone remember when it used to build out of a mana crystal? That's what I'm thinking. Boomer League of Legends things. So we can sequence down here. In any other elo, just keep the blue for yourself. Essentially a full sequence of 4 camps, but it can be 5 camps. You know, if you kind of do red down, you need to ignore the Krugs because it's a geographically undesirable camp. If you're focusing that in the wrong direction, it's just going to compromise you. So the KAYN kind of just does that shorter sequence where you don't go all the way to the Krugs because he kind of needs to be proximal to the dragon fight, the Hecarim definitely coming to the bottom side. No, man, I can't handle it. I just can't handle it. I mean, it's one thing when KAYN could do it. It's one thing when Talon can do it. This is just absolute giga disrespect by the blue team. You know KAYN was in that area. You know KAYN would not have had enough gold after going up from the mid lane. You know KAYN is very easily in areas, and the Aphelios just kind of walks in and dies. Although I do understand why he's tilted. Here we go. So we're on the backline on the Akali. We want to be very careful because it is an Akali. That turn will be very, very huge. So now Hecarim's running around with the Yuumi. It kind of looks like this game is falling away from us. And all we can try and do is make sure, obviously we have blue KAYN. What we can try and do here is just try not to lose as much as possible. We do have a Kassadin, we do have ourselves, we do have a Gwen. Hugely scaling comp, right? Ziri as well. Now, not that they scale badly, it's just that you don't want to lose so heavily that you can never reach your sort of item spikes and your break-even points, whereas they can. So it's all about that. We see here that eventually there's not much we can do. So we're just going to flash Q, flash auto Q plus the Gore Drinker activation and pick up a kill. I mean, this is absolutely fine. If you're basically going, you know what, whatever, I can't get anything, just pick up what you can. If they're all down here 100% or dead, snack yourself a plate, you can fall back to this, full sequences quadrant, reset. If they don't do the dragon, now you can basically go on down and do that. So let's see actually what he does do here. I'm staring at the minimap. We do have the Hecarim in the mid lane. We do have the Akali in the top lane. We do have the Yuumi on the pony. And this poor, so they're both being dove. They both get kills back. Really, bot lane, unfortunate. I don't like Yuumi's for this reason. As a support player as well when I'm doing Zyra, I don't mind because I can typically win lane. If she detaches, I just hit the root, you time it, you kill her, cool. But then she just goes on the Talon or the Hecarim and disappears. So you have to 2v1 that bot lane and really push it. But if the mid laner is winning, like the Akali, and they collapse on you, and it's really, really frustrating. So Hecarim launches himself into this fight. He's now down a level despite being absolutely equal in CS and having, some more assists, but he's gone the Chem Tank build. He's going Chem Tank, Mana Moon, and, it works. It's viable. But would that be something very, very useful in this particular situation? I mean, you can tank a lot. You've got the Yuumi. I mean, do you really need that? I feel like you could still go a bit more of a damagey build. Don't know if... I mean, Divine Sundra would definitely work with this particular comp, but I mean, so would something like Triforce. Anyway, and yeah, it's up to you, but don't just default to Chem Tank Mana Moon. All right, 3 people top lane. KAYN's now going to float on down to the bottom lane. Let's now see, actually, so the power of Purple KAYN, you've already seen it a little bit in terms of our sustain here. We could easily look to Dragon if we have 3 people top lane. I I do kind of like that they don't focus on Dragon. You just kill the Aphelios. Make sure he doesn't get a tower here. Make sure you just keep punishing him. Here we go. We do have the Gore Drinker to stay close as necessary. There we go. Heal is used. Both dead. Activated all together. Nicely done. That's where the blue Kayn... Now, should you have a huge lead as a blue Kayn, I don't think anyone has an issue killing an Aphelios there. But in terms of this kind of game state, the sustain, the slow, the healing, the added HP, you still kill him anyway, right? And that's kind of the point here. You overkill people regardless. So why do we necessarily need to only go lethality? I mean, sure, you can overkill people, but now I can kill people. It takes a little longer, but I will definitely not die myself. A little low mana here, but that's absolutely fine. That's where we are going. The special build. It's okay, we can cut that out. That's where we are going. The special build. And here, Hecarim once more lunges onto the depths, thinking, I'm an unkillable chem tank fister. And then we go, yeah, but we still kill you. And we have Gore Drinker and Blue Kayn. So I don't know what he's doing, really, honestly. The Hecarim is really perplexing to me. He just kind of lunges in, thinking he's infallible and immortal and unkillable. And I mean, that's what happens, I guess, when you have an ego Yumi package on you the entire game. Really stupid play by him. We do take the dragon from this. So obviously here, I said you could take the dragon. I think I would do it if there's definitely no mid lane. I like, actually, that Phyllis is splitting. Might as well just kill him, create more numbers advantage. And I think that's something I really focused on all week in the bootcamp, giving people advice. It was, if you can keep making picks as whatever champion you're playing, whether it's a blue Kayn, purple Kayn, red Kayn, kindred, doesn't matter what you are. If you can keep numbers advantage always by just making a pick for a bad position, someone steps out, you trigger pull, and you make sure that they're off the map, then you can pretty much control the game, even if it's a fiesta, which this one has kind of devolved into. We're looking for this Nexus moment, though. We finally are working on completing our Mana Moon. We're 222 stacks here. The boots, I don't necessarily always like, Cosmic Boots. Think deeply about your rune sets. Again, in the main channel video, I talked about this. But you don't always just need to go default builds. I mean, look at this. I mean, he dies anyway. You are giving up this basic Herald Prior, but we are Blue Kayn at the end of the day. I mean, in essence. So we can get there very, very fast. Hecarim, again, just blindly going for objectives. Is able to do that, though, but that's because Karma is kind of semi-inting as well. We do have here the exhaust going through. Doesn't really matter. Can do a little bit of peeling here. See if we can kill the back line. Beautifully done. We're actually able to snack the Herald as well. And Ziri's basically protected on the back line there because we just stepped in front. And that's what's really nice about this as well. A lot of times, beautifully done again, okay? A lot of times, what happens is, it's just super, super squishy. So you try and be a kind of driving wedge in the team, and you in front to backing as an assassin is kind of difficult, and you just get snapped like Thanos. In this case, no one can do that to you. I mean, no one can do that. I mean, what are we at already? Like, almost 2,000 HP, which you think on the face of it, that's not that much, but then you add to the fact, you know, it's from itemization, 300 plus 200, there's literally 500 bonus HP you'd have. You know, a quarter less HP if you didn't have those items, and that really does do things. Really does do things. So, 2,000 in pocket. Rift Herald secured for the Empire, how nice. Hecarim, once more, did kind of get something going. The Karma, you know, hasn't had a few silly deaths, but she's dying for her team, for the good of the right play, and kind of, that's fine, you know? I don't mind that as a support. Anyone who's a low econ jungler or a support player knows that we don't mind dying for the good cause. Right, Bounty's activation, I mean, that whole sequence, right, from the dragon till this point has completely shifted the balance of power in the game. And Cassian is just perma existing 3-2-0 on the bottom lane. Again, Karma a little bit out of position. Akali's going in, the Yumi's activated, but KAYN is going to rotate here. Let's see what we can do. Focus the back line that's close to our Ziri. Once more, very, very good. Don't dive on the Akali, kill the Hecarim, and now as a team, you can turn in the other direction. Very, very crucial. That whole suction effect, right? Aphelios, careful. Okay. So you always gotta wonder about that. The whole suction effect, when you're assassinating, you dive in, and the whole team kind of converges on you, uses spells, peel, and yada yada. And as KAYN, you can just ult and reposition and get out. Most other assassins will just die. Okay, it's good that we avoided that. I was gonna say Shoryuken, is that what we call it? I don't know. There we go. Yeah, it is. Very nice. And then this one is perfect execution, and that's with Twilight Shroud, and that one's 5 points drag. Okay. I'm trying to learn the names a little bit more. I lie, I'm not really trying to do that. I mean, it's a novel idea to kind of learn the ability names. I knew that, I knew that, I knew that, and I knew that. It's like right before an exam, where you have questions, Come back, Hecarim. Okay, I absolutely had to cut what I said. Yes, the Hecarim does come back. It's just a brief DC, much like the Kha'Zix, was it Kha'Zix, whatever, yesterday. I don't know why this is happening. It is what it is. But at least they're coming back, they're not actually AFKing, because it's the worst thing when you do a full gameplay, and you get to 20 minutes, and then a dude AFKs for the next final 5, and you're like, well, that was fun. But don't worry, Hecarim does come back in a second here. So, as I was saying, it's kind of like you study for exams, and then you try and ask yourself questions before the exam, like, I don't know the answers, but if you sat down and someone asked you, and you thought about it, you would get it, so. I tried to quiz myself, and I failed live on this gameplay. Anyway, let's go. So we finished our top quadrant, we're resetting, we see a Grave split pushing in the bottom lane, we now have Black Cleaver as our item actually, not even finishing this one just yet because we're not even at 360, so we might as well get the ability. Black Cleaver is really, really nice. The armor shred is super, super good. Obviously against, with all AD comps, it's not really an issue particularly in this game, but provide us a little bit. But it's the overall stats that we get now. 45 AD, very juicy. The 350 HP, very nice. The 30 ability haste, absolutely bonkers. But most importantly, you also get that 3 movement speed passive. I don't think you guys can actually see the passives, unfortunately, because of the way I set it up. But that stickiness from it has always been a classic thing when you're against... has always been a thing that you kind of want to have against high MS comps or high range comps that you really can't keep yourself attached to. I don't know why I keep fumbling words. That's what those cuts are. Today's been not a good day for fluid sentence making. I apologize profusely, but hopefully you enjoy the bubblies and the weird words and the stupid things I say. So Gwen now uses this pressure to split bot lane. Again, poor Aphelios got ditched by his Yuumi, then KAYN did a good job making sure that the Aphelios regrets queuing up in this position. Secure the next dragon. I was going to say Snapdragon or Snext Dragon. I have no idea, guys. You know, 7 hours of lectures a day, still managed to put out a video and now 3 gameplays, did a whole bunch of coaching. Yeah. Right. Finished this finally. We do have the Black Cleaver activation, and of course we have this one. You know, talking about the executioner's calling, with the Yuumi, with the Akali, you know, with the Hecarim, if you had Conqueror, obviously do a bit more, but with Divine and Conqueror, do a lot more, but yeah, I mean, it's not done the most work, but again, these small things all add up together. Alright, he smites it, he gets it, but he's down 2 levels, gets slow, doesn't make a difference. Kassadin, Everfrost, very well done. Ult, Humble Trespass. Yuumi goes into the graves. Akali joins up, ult goes through, we go back into the wall here, escaping this particular fight because we cannot actually stay through, but our team collapses, so we've done enough of that damage absorption. We can come back into the fight here. We do have Gore Drinker activated. Can we get another kill to snack it away? No, we cannot, but that's actually fine for our team. This is game-winning fight right here. Absolute game-winning fight. And the fact of the matter is, that was fun. I enjoyed. We had to leave, but I think that's something worth noting. Don't die for your team. They do get a bounty, but we should be able to get an inhib here. Respawn time is 5, 4, 3, 2. I mean, are we really worried about the... We're really worried about the Hecarim at this point? He's level 12. KAYN's almost level 15 here. Aphelios is giga tilted. And I think we can understand why, but the KAYN did a good job making sure... I mean, when you can do that, why do we need lethality items? Just go stuff that makes it really impossible to deal with Blue KAYN. It's kind of like Graves, right? Graves is also going Gore Drinker, same thing. The build path is super good, something we didn't talk about. Phage was kind of weird a little bit, but Brutalizer, rest in peace, Brutalizer, the old Warhammer basically. Warhammer is much better for Blue KAYN than building Phage. Still kind of better than Ross, too, to be honest with you. For me personally. Right. We are finally at the time when we're going to build some magic resist. I think in this particular moment, with a bit more MR, you could go with something like a Hex Drinker. If you feel like Akali's damage and Yuumi's damage particularly, or if there's another AP threat is a bit too strong, then yeah, definitely some MR is good. Let's see how we go. I don't think he'll actually end up building anything. That was a nice little predictive W. You see? We kind of wind it up, twirly-whirly, expect his little E there. Anticipation spells are absolutely crucial, but not really talking much about Blue KAYN anymore. We do have here a funky little fight. Dead Zeri, over pushing, over committing, trying to steal red buff. Karma activates a shield that speeds us up. Hello. Akali dashes out. Doesn't really matter. We auto, we smite, we make sure we get that ultimate. We shall Umbro Trespass to safety, and Kassadino follows up with a kill. That's absolutely fine. Well done. Hypermobility is one of the most fun things about this. Brute, dead, good job. Kassadin's damage is going to look way inflated. But I think they're just going to FF here. Yeah. Aphelios is tilted. They're not going to win any more fights. Blue KAYN is now hugely up on the enemy team. Brilliant. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Wait, isn't Beifeng that's the name of the 2KLP China player, right? It's not the same one, is it? Just playing on career? I don't think so. Maybe he's just maybe he's just making fun of the name or something. I don't know. Anyway, a little bit everywhere with this gameplay, but hopefully you can see the power of a blue Kayn with a Conqueror / a Rusty Boy build. So blue, red, purple. Hopefully you understand that reference. A little bit about sequencing and tracking and playing in a bit of a fiesta, but keeping your head firm. Make sure you can tilt someone on your team. Always, if there's someone that you can tilt, like this with Felios, make sure it happens. If someone's completely out of the game, don't let them get back into it. So like, just every time he's by himself, kill him. Every time the Yumi's on the aggro, remove him from the game. Enjoy that. Enjoy this version of KAYN. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to check out the main channel. Patreon links in the description below for coaching and coaching VODs, as well as the match history to this game. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial, after I've slept a little bit and hopefully can form full sentences again.